As a person of color, every day my life is bombarded with stereotypes that affect my learning and social experience. I am left with the question of how other people are affected. We gathered a few college students to talk about these stereotypes. Some stereotypes that I've noticed in media and in personal experiences. I've noticed
Asians are smart, black people are dumb, or ghetto, or all kinds of stuff. Angry black women, just all things like that.
Some stereotypes that I've noticed, especially because I love watching TV and I love film, is that you tend to see, especially because I love watching crime shows, you see a lot of Hispanic gang members.
Like that, we're usually putting either the maid or janitorial scenes as well, and we're kind of treating more as like the comic relief from time to time as well.
They're the villain. You know, certain stereotypes are the villains. Certain stereotypes are the good guy.
So some stereotypes I've noticed from media and personal experience is, oh my gosh, there's so many.
A lot of appropriation.
You know, the stereotypes that I think permeate our culture affect me a lot. I mean, it's affected me economically, you know, in what type of jobs I am seen for or not seen for.
In my culture, we have like the terrible stereotype of being a wetback. I grew up in a family full of immigrants, and I had the displeasure one time of, in middle school, someone calling me a wetback.
Once you walk into a room, the second you see someone, you make an assumption of who they are, you know, by what they're wearing, you know, what they look like. Every little thing is judged.
Sure, people would usually like make those assumptions from time to time when they see me off the street and everything like that. They're like, oh, it's like, do your parents work in these type of jobs, or do you live in this type of neighborhood and everything? Like, it may come off as a surprise for me, but like, no, it's just like we're just like any other regular family. We live in a regular neighborhood among other people, and we're all working different types of jobs as well.
That affects the amount of money that I bring into my house, which, you know, then affects where I live, where if I had children, where they would go to school.
Some of them fall to the deviant pathways that will lead them to be incarcerated. As of now, there are more brown and black folks that are incarcerated because of these stereotypes.
These stereotypes have been built up, and it happens everywhere. It's not just on campuses, it's everywhere you look. These stereotypes are built, and they hurt. They really do hurt, and it makes me feel sick, but...
I would bartend and wait tables, and the things people say to you as a Latina woman working in a bar are horrendous.
Stereotypes, in ways, they sadly define our culture in a way. I do obviously believe in it. They sadly play a big part of where we function.
I think what needs to be done about stereotypes and how we get rid of them is...
There's a lot we need to do. There's a lot we can do.
In order to get rid of stereotypes, many things would have to change.
In order to get rid of stereotypes,
I think to get rid of stereotypes,
We need to, one of the things is that we cannot perceive certain types of people as villains.
It starts with us. It really starts with yourself and looking in the mirror and trying to stop yourself from stereotyping.
You know, we see these things happen in every social media outlet. You see something happening, you know, all these protests, all these people getting hurt. Like, it's gonna take a lot. It's not gonna be easy. It's definitely gonna be a battle.
the human race is a fan of labels. We really like to label things. And so I think stereotyping is another way to try to label people.
I mean, I think it's having open dialogues and conversations and destigmatizing the fact that we all have them. Because I think when you can openly admit that, that is when you can affect a change. Because otherwise people just kind of hunker down and say, oh, no, that's not me. And that's not true, it's everybody.
One of the things that really causes the stereotype threat and just the threats in general is just the fear of the unknown. Because when you don't know enough about somebody else's culture, the circumstances they're living in, or anything that's affecting their families, you tend to make those assumptions just to fill in the blank that you fill in the information that you're missing for as well.
Like, the definition of being brave isn't having no fear, it's overcoming your fear. And I think if people, instead of trying to kind of think, oh, I'm bad for thinking that this person is like that, you kind of think, okay, so I think that now, so I'm going to give this person a chance.
But it can't happen unless society as a large understands that there's a problem. And our biggest issue is that we don't. We don't recognize it as an issue worth fighting for at all.
There's a lot of stereotypes were created by people of power. It really is. When people are in power, they kind of rule over those are in the betweeners and everything.
As a minority, I think if we sort of band together and when we really put our minds to something, no one can really stop us. And so I believe that if we stop stereotyping, then I don't think any sort of majority group could stop us. Doors close and opportunities fade because of the color of my skin. The minute we are born, we are labeled and told our lives will always be affected and we must overcome in order to survive. How do you overcome something that you were born into? Is it with hate? Is it with violence? No, it starts with us.